מזמור לדוד. אדוני אלוהי לא יחסר, בנודש יביצני. עמי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי ישובב, ינחני ועמק לצדק, למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא יררם, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צורריי, דשנת ושמר ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
As Cantor Schiffman began our service by chanting Psalm 23 in the Hebrew, please join with me in the English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Today is not an easy day because Andrea was so incredible. But we have a mission, and that is to bring her such honor and praise for all that she was, all that she is, all that she'll be remembered as we carry her on. So today we're going to gather to share words of praise, of gratitude and thanks, of honor, as we recall with great affection a beloved wife, a beloved mother, a beloved sister, a beloved aunt and friend, Andrea Canowitz. Our tradition teaches, L'chol zaman ve'et l'cha chefetz tachat hashamayim, et laledet ve'et lamut. There's a season set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for planting and a time for reaping, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for embracing and a time for refraining, a time for laughing, a time for weeping, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying. Our beloved Andrea has departed from this world too soon, with more to do, more to give, more smiles to share. But today, this morning, as we gather to remember an incredible woman, we know that she fought hard. We know that she is now at peace. She lived with kindness, always with a smile, a true role model for all of us. Andrea has left behind many in mourning, her husband of more than 53 years, her best friend and confidant, Aaron, the apples of her eye, her daughters, Melissa and Jennifer, her brother-in-law, Paul, adoring nieces and nephews, and all of us, her friends who were like family. Andrea now joins her parents of blessed memory, Margaret and David Bonin, Sister Janice, and all those who have gone before. She rejoins them all in their eternal home in heaven. Now we're honored to call up her daughter, Jennifer, to share family tribute.
Wow, this is hard. Mom's original diagnosis was devastating and inexplicable, but it didn't change who she was. She planned, she fought. She transferred treatments to the clinic in Florida when she needed to. She cooked for the holidays. She went to the pool to be with her friends. She pretended to read the books for her book club. She went to the Browns games. She was determined to get to her high school reunion and to celebrate Sarah's wedding, and she did. She grew up in Cleveland Heights with my grandparents and her younger sister Janice. They grew up at Beth Am with parents who were leaders at the synagogue. They went to Cleveland Heights High School. They went to Ohio State. Does that sound at all like Melissa and me? My grandparents had season Browns tickets from time immemorial, and they started taking my sister along when she was a very little girl. Through the team leaving and coming back in a brand new stadium, the football game rituals changed very little. They actually chose to schlep down on the Green Road Rapid in all kinds of weather, bundled up within an inch of their lives to wait in a long line for the bathroom just to peel it all off. And I still wonder if they didn't realize how wonderful football on TV is. In person, they don't superimpose the line of scrimmage or the first down line. That's what they call it. And at home, the bathroom line is a lot shorter. It was always important for my mother to be involved in whatever we were doing. She was likely the only woman coaching Beechwood softball at the time. She traveled to coach for the Maccabee games and pivoted quickly when we found out while we were there that we were supposed to be playing fast pitch softball, a game we had never played before. If she wasn't running the team, she was the team's biggest fan. She was at every away game, every tennis match. She knew all the names and all of the faces, starting with the neighborhood kids that we ran with all the time. At that time, everyone's mom was your mom, and she was everyone's mom on Bay Tree Road. And not much changed as we got older. Every single one of Melissa's friends knew my mom, and she knew all of their stories and enough to ask about their jobs, their spouses, their husbands, their kids, their hobbies. When we were old enough to start school, my mom went back to work as a substitute teacher. Sounds ideal, right? She worked the same hours as we were at school and could be home when we were. She could continue to attend all the after-school functions. By late elementary school, she was a macher at Beth Torah while we were in Hebrew school. By middle school, she was subbing in middle school. You know, what could go wrong? Being 14 isn't awkward enough. Having your mom at school makes it a lot more comfortable. When I was at Wiley, my mom was subbing on the day that they had a teachers versus kids basketball game. So she played. And they passed the ball to her. And she took her shot from the foul line, underhand, from between her legs. And she made it. She believed in education and discipline. Teenagers are always well-behaved when there's a sub, right? She definitely remembered those names. On good days for me, she subbed at one of the other middle schools. And when we moved up to Heights and met and befriended those other kids, she remembered each and every kid who was ever a knucklehead in her classroom. And it made it just that much harder to get them accepted into the fold. Substitute teaching has to be the worst job in the world. But in her soul, she was a teacher. She returned to subbing after she retired and continued to do it long after just walking to the classroom should have been too difficult. It was just who she was. She had a strong sense of right and wrong. She had a sense of duty, how to live a life devoted to family, friends, community. There is only one right way to fold a sheet or a towel. If that tchotchke goes on the left side of the table, then it goes on the left side of the table. Other clear truths that were often stated emphatically. We don't shop there. We don't buy that. This is what we order at this restaurant. I'm sure I have a coupon for that. It is okay to take a shortcut that includes 11 stop signs just to avoid a single, possibly red light. Cooking food just specifically to hand feed to the grand dogs is completely acceptable. My parents were introduced by family friends. The story's always been a little vague for my taste. And my dad has his standard way of telling it. He's always said, Andrea proposed to me on our second date, and the rest is history. While the details have been lost to history and some sort of inexplicable secrecy, they met in February, were engaged in May, and married in August, 53 years ago. Something was right. And she immediately took on that role of loving all the Canowitzes too. Now, recently my father's been lamenting how small our family has gotten. And we're grateful to have so many of them here. The truth of it is that my family made their friends into family. No one ever grew up calling as many people aunt and uncle who are not blood relations as Melissa and I did. Once my parents made a friend, they kept them forever. She has friends from childhood, from Hadassah, from PVA, from Temple, from students she taught over 50 years ago. Did I mention that my mother doesn't like change? Given that, it's even more remarkable that she made new and important friends later in life. The ladies from the pool and now the book club are a remarkable group of women who laugh together and support each other through everything. Mothers and daughters, it's not always easy. We're strong women. We are stubborn women. And no matter what, when we didn't see eye to eye, it began and ended with love. I cannot imagine not asking for or hearing her opinion on the things happening in my life, but I think I'll be hearing it anyhow. Of all the things she prepared us for in life, moving forward without her was not one of them. We'll get through it together, though. We have her inside of us, and we will hold on to traditions. We'll cook the farfel. We'll bake the kuchens. And we'll learn to live with the change. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Jennifer, what incredible tribute. I want to take a moment before my remarks. I'm sure you know, but just to talk about the dedication that this family had to Andrea in those last few months. And I know there was a team, a circle of friends and a support in that circle, as you said, Jennifer, really a family. Friends who are family, but the devotion that you showed to Mom and her decline was really inspiring. And she was always comfortable, always loved, always had her dignity. She was the matriarch, the mom. You made sure of that till the end. Andrea was a mensch. She had a heart of gold, always smiling, generous, and caring, always there. I always thought about her like she was the mayor of B'nai Yeshurun. She was, at least for the 21 years that I've known her. She was strong and tough, determined. It was her way, and that was the only way, no other option. Andrea believed in taking on responsibility, and when she took on responsibility, she did it full-heartedly, incredibly efficient, all in. She took over, got it done quickly and well. I think she's passed it on to her girls as well. Andrea lived by the golden rule, always caring and giving, never saying a bad thing about anyone. As Aaron told me, she never did lashon hara. She simply lived life the right way. We all know that, and we know that family was number one, and that friends were family. You already heard, born and raised here in Cleveland, graduating from Heights High and then the Ohio State University, and then coming back home to teach in Cleveland. I did hear a little different version of how Aaron and Andrea were set up. The distant cousins were Bernie and Helen Peters, for those who may know of them, remember them with great love. And it truly was a match made in heaven. Aaron, you told me I fell in love with Andrea from the start. And it was a whirlwind courtship. And married within 6 months. You both knew it was just right from the start. And we all would agree, an incredible couple. The wedding was at Beth Am, of course, but it was officiated by Rabbi Rosenthal because it was a time after Rabbi Herman's passing and before Rabbi Hecht joined the congregation. And after that wedding ceremony, you honeymooned in the Nevele. Aaron and Andrea driving out in August 1969, past a small place called Woodstock, not stopping. They saw something was happening and they just kept driving by. And years later, the girls gave Aaron and Andrea an anniversary present, returning to the Nevele to celebrate their honeymoon once again. After living in the Clarkswood apartments for a couple years, saving up some money, 50 years ago, Aaron and Andrea brought their first and only home, the home on Baintree that we all knew, soon welcoming their girls to make their family complete. Aaron, you are blessed to have Andrea for 53 years, the most incredible partner. For us on the outside, I hope all would agree you were quite a special team, complementing each other, bringing out the best in each other, laughing together, watching out for each other, and that's what made you even more special, an inseparable pair, a model of loving partnership. Andrea, as you heard, stopped teaching so she could focus her time on raising her girls, the best mother, always there, doing it all for you, whether it was softball or tennis and everything. In college, she'd come down to visit you at Ohio State, and of course, to see a game. Always making sure you were well fed and taken care of. And there was another rule, which you didn't mention, Jennifer, which was if you were eating dinner at the house and someone wasn't home, the trick was to come home last, because Andrea would portion out the food, ration out anyone who was there actually on time, didn't get to eat the full portion because she wanted to make sure that the last person came in had plenty. As Melissa and Jennifer graduated from college and began what we call adulting now, Mom continued to go back to work and began her time at the Red Cross, which she did until retirement. And in those years later, as Melissa and Jennifer were adults, Andrea got closer to the two of you. I know because I witnessed your incredible family closeness, how you all look out for each other, even with Jennifer out of town, but it's really like you live here in Cleveland. And Mom took incredible pride and nachas in your achievements, your careers, and your passions. You both have Mom's inner strength and toughness, her sense of humor. You both tackle any project and get it done well and fast. I know that because for I think my entire time here, Melissa has run the Purim Carnival at B'nai Yeshurun. I get it done really fast and very well with an incredible circle of friends who are family. And you're both sort of teachers in your own way. Of course, Melissa is a teacher, but Jennifer, in your own way, you also carry on Mom that way. You already heard she was the best holiday cook, the farfel that she made by the gallon or by the ton, not sure. Chocolate mousse, you name it, she never varied that holiday menu, always the same, and it was delicious. As Jennifer said, Andrea didn't like change. Every year in the late summer before the school year would start, Andrea would do a massive bake-off of her kuchen, expanding from her mother's recipe, making pounds and pounds and pounds, all different varieties, chocolate raspberry, chocolate peanut butter, just to name two of the favorites, and freeze a year's worth of kuchen, so that she would always have it ready to take out of the freezer for any event, celebration, anyone who was sick, anyone that she was visiting. Judaism and synagogue were such an integral part of Andrea's life. Her maternal grandparents were founding members of Beth Am Community Temple. Both Margaret and David, her parents, were presidents of our synagogue, of Beth Am at the time. And Andrea herself served in numerous leadership roles, both at Beth Am and B'nai Yeshurun. The leader in forming Beth Torah, as Jennifer said, the combined Hebrew school with B'nai Yeshurun, Beth Am, and Park, along with Beva Berkowitz of blessed memory. Andrea served on our board of trustees, and after the family received the highest honor our synagogue gives, the Rabbi Rudolph and Rosenthal Outstanding Family of the Year Award, Andrea then had the honor of becoming our awards committee chairperson, nearly for 20 years, which included writing and delivering the speeches to honor each of our awardees at our annual meeting. Everyone awaited the call from Andrea every year so that they might be named the Family or Volunteer of the Year. And along with Melissa and Aaron, Andrea had her special role at the Purim Carnival too. Melissa, you always made sure that Mom was the cashier in the food line. Not the easiest job with all the kids running through the Purim Carnival. Andrea was instrumental in Beth Am and B'nai Yeshurun's participation in the Schechter rib burn-off. It was her recipe that was used for many years, always coordinating the cooking crew. She was a leader in our shul, and we are so appreciative for a lifelong lifetime of service and dedication. She was, as I said, the mayor of the shul, greeted you with a smile. She gave us her heart and soul. Always a person we would turn to it for advice and wise counsel. And I was so happy that Andrea came on a beautiful Friday night in July to our Shabbat Rock service. We had her home. She was smiling. She may not have gotten up and danced, but she was dancing in her heart, that I know. After family and shul, Andrea's next biggest love was sports. I might need to rearrange the order. The kids told me that had she been born in a different era, Andrea probably would have professionally been a sports announcer. A lifelong Browns fan, as you heard, family tickets since 1946. She probably made sure that the funeral was happening now so that everybody will be settled for kickoff. When the newspaper would come to the house every day, Andrea would read the sports page, and Erin would read the comics. She was an athlete in her own right, a good tennis player, and as you said, she was not just your biggest cheerleader, but also your coach. She had an incredibly large circle of friends, and I think everyone here could actually stand in my place right now and give an incredible tribute of Andrea's love and devotion. And many of you were lifelong friends from school or from shul, from volunteering at Hadassah, that young family group, volunteering with PVA, the group home, which she devoted so much to building up. She cared about community and all of you. She had her bridge friends and that August wedding anniversary club. Right now we are only exactly 1 week from Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays. This is the time when we are taught that we must look inside ourselves. We must recommit ourselves to living by the highest ideals. I don't need to give a sermon this year. All I have to say is, live like Andrea did. Emulate her devotion to family and community, to living honestly, with kindness and compassion, and always a smile. We can truly say that Andrea will be missed by family and friends, by each and every one of us. But now we must rejoice in her good name, remember her love, her spirit, her smile, and her life. May Andrea's name always bring blessings. Tehi Zichrano Baruch, and we say, Amen. We'll rise now as Cantor Schiffman chants the El Male, the memorial prayer.
El Male Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechonam Tachat Kanfei Ashechinam B'mahalot Kedoshim Tehorim Kezohar Arakia Mazirim Et Nishmat Malka Liba Bat David Ruvain V'Mindo Saram Shalcha Le'olama B'Gan Eden Tehei Menuchatam Ahanam Balarachamim Hastireh B'Sedek Lafecham Le'olamim Utzeror mitzoror achayim, achayim et nishmatam, Adonai unachalatam, v'tanuach b'shalom amishkava. V'nomar Amen.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of our beloved Malka Liba, Andrea Canowitz, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that your loved one, our loved one, find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May she merit the reward for living a life filled with kindness, righteousness, and love. May her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May she rest in peace, and we say, Amen. Please be seated. Following this service, interment will take place at Beit Olam Cemetery, and then the family will be observing Shiva It's a little complicated, so number one, I say look at the notice, but I'll give you the highlights. Today, following interment, we will be going to Melissa's home, which is 5435 Meadowood Boulevard in Lyndhurst. Today until 4 p.m., then the family will be taking a break and resuming from 7 to 9 p.m. And as well on Monday and Tuesday from 1 to 4 and 7 to 9 at Melissa's home. And then shifting on Wednesday and Thursday to the Canowitz residence on 4457 Baintree Road, 1 to 4 and 7 to 9 on Wednesday and Thursday, then Friday afternoon from 1 to 3. There will be evening minions this week, Sunday through Thursday night at the different residences following the same dates at 7 p.m. The family has asked masks are preferred during visits. Those who wish may contribute to the Bonin Schaefer Canowitz Greenberger Garden Fund at B'nai Yeshurun Congregation.